It's the best local sports show in Jacksonville. This is the Action Sports Jax Postgame Show, sponsored by Anajar and Levine, Accident Attorneys.
Well, we got to get some monitors turned on in here, my man. We got nothing on. I don't even know if I'm on. I got a bunch of black screens around here, for goodness sakes. The beating is complete. The A beating is what we just watched. The Pittsburgh Steelers stay perfect on the 2020 NFL season as they are victorious, and the Jaguars have lost their ninth straight football game. Their ninth straight football game. Yeah, 9 in a row. The Jaguars lose today, 27-3 to Pittsburgh. It was all actually the Jags took an early 3-0 lead, if I remember correctly. Went down the field, and Jake Luton had his best throw of the day, an 18-yard completion, and then after that, forget about it, man. It was ugly. It was what you would think when a MAC team plays a Big Ten team. It was what you think when a undefeated team who's played better than half their season takes on a team who's won just one game, and that was the opener way back when, and has since lost 8 in a row. It was total domination on every side of the football. You know what? The Jaguars' defense is now the strength of this football team, and they're not good. Okay, they're not good at all. But the offense has gotten terrible, and we've seen enough of Jake Luton. Okay, that's it. It's over. I don't care if the coaching staff doesn't like Gardner Minshew. I don't care if they're bothered by the fact that Gardner Minshew won't sit in the pocket and throw it. Gardner Minshew yesterday, Gardner Minshew today, and Gardner Minshew tomorrow is a better quarterback. Now, look, for me, I want him to lose every game, so I keep playing Luton. I'll keep playing Luton right to the very end, so I don't want any kind of risk whatsoever with the Jags winning a game. But if you're really trying to win a football game, why on earth you wouldn't play Gardner Minshew at this point if he's healthy, which I assume he's now going to be back throwing footballs. I would be playing him ASAP. I would have played Mike Glennon today. I would have played Keenan McCardell today at quarterback. He was once the emergency Jaguar quarterback. Jake Luton was horrendous, and it's not all his fault, but this is what happens when you play a really good team who came down. And by the way, it was a physical football game today. The Jags wanted to get physical, and the Steelers physicaled them. I mean, they smacked them around. They hit them hard. And it's over. It's over. The Jags have lost. They're now 1-9. Next up, Cleveland on the pain train. Let's go out to the stadium, get some thoughts and comments from our friend Brent Martineau, who I think will say a lot of the same things or echo at least my sentiments. But Brent, that was not so pretty today.
Yeah, listen, those first half was pretty good for the Jags and their defense and holding Big Ben Roethlisberger, the offense in check of the Steelers. But, I mean, they had no threat on offense. The interception down near the end zone on the ball that was deflected, that even if it wasn't deflected, it might have been picked off by 2 different guys anyway. Just a bad throw by Luton. And that changed any hope for the Jags, if you're kind of thinking that way. And then the second half, I was surprised, like you, Dan, Jake Luton came out of the gates in the second half. I thought they would have gone to Mike Glennon, because it's not really what it says to everybody else or even the organization. It's what it says to those guys on the sideline. They could see he was overmatched. I don't really put it on Luton that much. His third game as an NFL QB. He shouldn't even probably be playing right now in the NFL. And he does okay against Houston here a few weeks ago. Didn't have a good game against Green Bay, and now you're facing the best team in the NFL with a defense that can be quite scary at times. And so he was overmatched, and I was surprised they didn't go to Glennon just to say to the guys on the sideline, hey, we know you're playing hard. We can see it. We're going to give you a chance to win this game. And I was surprised that Doug Marrone didn't give him a chance to win the game in that regard. Got some good news for you, though. If you're on Team Tank, Washington won. So now it's up to the Dallas Cowboys, the Jags. If the Cowboys can win a game here, the Jags can actually win a game. You can root for them on a Sunday to win one time and still get that second overall pick in the draft next April. Pretty listless second half here. It was kind of a sleepy second half. in Jacksonville as the Jags get throttled 27-3. I'll tell you this, though, Dan, Pittsburgh's pretty good. They didn't play their best game.
No.
Big Ben was just okay.
Yeah.
And they've got a ton of weapons on offense. They're a pretty good football team.
I don't like your energy right now, Brett Martineau. You have no energy. You're like the Jags. You're listless out there. I don't feel any passion from you, any verb. You seem like a beaten man, Brett Martineau. A beaten man. You've gone to the pullover thing that you're wearing there, the hoodie. You're down. I'm surprised you shaved today, quite frankly.
Well, I thought about not shaving today, quite frankly. Listen, here's the deal. This is tough to come see. I don't like to think like you.
Yeah.
I don't like to think in a negative way.
Yeah.
And I think, unfortunately for the fans, we all know the reality of it is why get another win or two? And we're just getting used to it. We're accustomed to it. And if you look by mid-November over the last decade, really under Shad Khan's ownership, Dan, Jags have not even been in the mix by Thanksgiving, except for 2017.
Right.
So this is the fun time of year. You know, if you have a football team, whether it's in college or heck, even in high school or in the NFL, this is the fun time of year. The last 6 weeks of the season, when the games mean so much more, the defenses play better, and you go late in the game and there's a lot of drama. And of course, some of that taken away because there's not a lot of fans in the stadiums. I get that. But that game, I mean, you could have ran the clock in the second half and it wouldn't have mattered. I guess that's my disappointment. It's hard to get excited about this right now.
E factor, which is entertaining, and we've had that the last 2 weeks. We didn't get that today. Shad Khan, by the way, on pace next week to join the 100 lose club. It'll be his 100th loss as an owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So it starts from the top and works its way down. Brent, listen, the reason why I don't want to be happy about this or anything, but we've been right. We've been right since May. This team is no good. This team has not gotten, it's just no good. And so there's no point in winning football games when you're no good. But we learned a valuable lesson, and we need to pass this on to management. Brent, you can draft that quarterback, one or two, but you damn sure better take that free agent money and buy offensive linemen, and you damn sure better draft some good offensive linemen. Otherwise, what's going to happen to Joe Burrow is going to happen to your franchise quarterback, and then we got a problem. So that's something you better learn from what happened in Washington today with the Bengals and the Washington Football Club as Burrow goes down with a severe knee injury.
Yeah, no doubt. That's too bad to see. He was having a fantastic year as well. But it was kind of like a ticking time bomb waiting to happen. Their offensive line just so bad for the Cincinnati Bengals. I think the Jaguars are better equipped, Dan, to bring in that young quarterback. They have some offensive linemen that are okay. And their offensive line isn't horrible this year. They have some weapons on offense. They don't have enough. But James Robinson did it again today. I thought he was their best player on offense once again today. So I think they're better equipped than Cincinnati, maybe offensively. And then you go spend some of that money on other pieces to make you very good on offense around that young QB. So there's definitely some of the chatter about that. The fellas on Twitter who make T-shirts about the 100 losses for Shad Khan said actually today was the 100th loss. So we'll have to get the official count.
Okay.
But the bottom line is you get the point. And you said it, this is an organization that has a big opportunity right now. They've made a lot of bad choices in really the last probably 15, 20 years, but especially in the last decade. And they have an opportunity now to flip this thing around with a lot of money, with a high draft pick, with a lot of draft picks. And if they can get the right people in here, and if Shad Khan can make the right decisions and trust the right people, and those people can do good things, well, this is a golden opportunity. Now, there's not a lot of trust from us or anyone else to see that happen, but this is one of those opportunities. This is going to be a crossroads kind of offseason for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Heck, we're still 6 weeks away from that, but that's the kind of opportunity in front of the Jags, and now it's up to Shad Khan to get it fixed.
Brent, let's run down the injuries, because today was a physical football game, and the Jaguars secondary is depleted. But I think the big injury was to 41, Josh Allen. That didn't look good. Wasn't putting a lot of weight on the knee. We'll see what Doug Marrone has to say here momentarily when he pops up. But overall, that would be my chief cause of concern. That looked to be the most serious. Do you concur?
Yeah, I think so. He wasn't putting a lot of weight on that left leg, and he's already missed a couple of games. When he missed a couple of games, first time he's ever missed a game. So now he's dealing with some adversity. This has not been a great year for Josh. He hasn't been bad, but he also hasn't been good. Without Yannick Ngakoue, Calais Campbell, and now being asked to do a lot more, and he's not getting a bunch of help on the other side with Caleb on Chason, who did make a play today, but still isn't showing up in a big way. So yeah, Josh Allen injured. DJ Hayden might have got injured again. He just came back today. I mean, he did get injured. We'll see how long-term that is. Chris Claybrooks seemed like he was hurting at times. Daniel Thomas makes the interception, has been playing really good football, by the way. Young man out of Auburn, I think, has been playing very good. But he gets hurt, doesn't play much of the second half. So, yeah, they got beat up a bit. They're already beat up a bit with C.J. Henderson and Laviska Shenault out. So, listen, you got 6 weeks and you want to watch some of these young players play, and you want to see guys like Josh Allen play and make a play here or there. I thought they played with a bunch of energy, Dan. They're playing pretty inspired football for a team that had lost 8 in a row. But when you start losing people like Josh Allen and DJ Hayden and some of the guys that you want to see play, I think that trickles down even to the sideline. It's tough to get up and play when some of your better players can't even give it a go, and we'll see what the news will be on Josh Allen. Certainly didn't look good, and if I was the Jags, I wouldn't risk much. He's a big cornerstone of this defense for years to come.
Yeah, and when the injuries start to mount up late in the season, that's when things can really start to snowball badly. And we talked about who the Jags played. Today was a case of them playing a really good football team that wasn't taking them for granted. Pittsburgh kind of came to play. They said, okay, you want to play tough? We'll play tough. All right, here's Doug Marrone. He's making his way to the podium. Brett, we'll get back and get your thoughts about Marrone's comments in just a second. Let's listen in now on Doug Marrone as he approaches the podium, and now we'll take some questions and some answers and see what he has to say. Here he comes, Doug.
Has Shad given you an assurance that you're going to finish this season out?
No.
Okay. How are those conversations going? You told us earlier you speak with him weekly. What's sort of the details of those conversations?
Just how we're going to approach our opponent, kind of a game plan. That's it.
Okay. And then your thoughts on Jake Luton's performance today?
I thought it was a tough day for him.
Was there anything that you can put your finger on as to why it was a tough day for Jake from what you saw?
Probably a little bit of everything. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're playing a good defense. They're mixing it up a bunch, and pressuring us, and so there's a lot of things going on out there. So it was a tough day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's go to Mark and then D-Rock.
So they do that to a lot of quarterbacks, let alone rookie quarterbacks. How much of that did you expect, and was there a point where you honestly considered switching to Mike Glennon?
Yeah, I mean, they were doing, a lot. I mean, they've been doing it against everyone. And, I kind of went back and forth for a little bit. I mean, truthfully, I was just thinking to myself, hey, listen, do we keep him in there? And, you talk about getting experience, is that going to get experience? And then is it good enough, or, where we are? But I think, during the week, we'll evaluate it. I don't think I'll have an answer on Monday, when I get asked a question. But, I think as, the week goes, we'll take a look and see what we can do. What's the best thing for our team?
All right. Thanks, Mark. Let's go over to D-Rock and then Gary Smits.
Doug, Josh Allen goes down. Actually had a bunch of guys on defense go down during this game, but Allen's looked pretty serious. Do you have any update on that?
No, I don't, D-Rock. I'm sorry. One of the things, like I'll reiterate to you guys, so afterwards, unless it's something like drastic that they know, like Daniel Thomas will be out, he'll go to IR. But the other guys, they don't, the other ones they won't tell me about until later on. So that's really the only one I can give you right now. So I'm sure he'll go on IR at some point during the week.
Doug, do you guys, you felt like you grabbed a bunch of momentum early with that first drive, even though it only ended with the field goal, to kind of get things rolling?
Yeah, I felt like we came out, we were able to drive the ball. We fell short, we kicked the field goal. I tried to steal a possession, with the onside kick. And then all of a sudden, we hold them and they missed the field goal. And then, then it's kind of a battle, after that. We got our hands on, 3 balls in the first half. We got the 1 pick, at the end of the half, but, we could have had a couple others. They got their hands on 2 and made 1 pick, for them. I thought the, key thing was, in the red zone, the tip ball, we had an opportunity to get points there and go in and really, would have made it close. And, guys that got out there, we got some penalties that gave them, some big plays, and they were able to take advantage of it. I mean, it was a hard-fought game. I thought at times we stopped the run well, but at times you saw that we were in position and we just couldn't make the tackles. So, it's not like I keep saying every week. It's not from a lack of effort, and I wish I can do a better job for these guys, and that's what I told them after the game.
Thanks, Derek. Let's go to Gary and then Gene Burnett.
Yeah, Doug, you came in shorthanded in the secondary with the injuries at the corners. At a certain point, with Daniel's big play at the end of the half and going into the third quarter, did you feel good about how the guys you did have out there were playing? I did. I really did. I thought they were playing with a ton of effort. I thought that, Ben made some really great throws and they made some really good catches, I thought we were, contesting, some balls. Like I said before, we got our hands on a couple. We couldn't come up with, the turnover. But I was happy. I thought those guys were giving everything they have and playing well. I mean, they're a top 10 offense, and I thought we went in there and at least for 3 quarters, it was 17-3. I mean, we were battling. And then the way James Robinson ran the ball, as long as you kept it within range, I know you had to throw at a certain point and everything, but do you feel like James was doing what you had hoped running the ball there? Yeah, James is consistent. I think we got beat a couple of times up front, in some of those runs that, but he gets the most out of everything. I mean, there's not much more we can ask from him. He's a bright spot, obviously, and does well. I just feel bad that we can't, get a lead and get him more carries. And, I think his production would be even higher, but, like you said, we just got to keep it, keep people off and at times, just continue to do a good job with him. I mean, he's obviously a good football player for us. Thanks, guys. Sure.
Thanks, Gary. Let's just do 2 more, Gene and then Mia.
Hey, Doug, could you just talk about what you feel like you can do for the remainder of these last 6 weeks? Obviously, I mean, this is brutal. You got the long losing streak. The injuries are piling up. How do you keep this team from not getting too down over some really tough circumstances?
Yeah, that's a great question, Gene. I talked to the players after the game, and obviously we're all disappointed. And I told the players, I mean, this team has done everything they can. Like I said, I've had 0 issues, none. Everyone comes to practice. Everyone works hard. Everyone supports each other. It's the record's obviously bad. I get that. I wish I could do something for them, but they're close. I mean, they're gonna play for each other, and the coaches and the coaches are gonna coach, and for lack of a better term, we're all gonna make sure that we do our job. But I think there's something in there with these guys. They care. I mean, you can tell. I mean, you don't play like they're playing, if you don't care. And like I said before, I wish I told them. I mean, I told them after the game. I said, hey, listen, I said I love this team, and I do. I really do. I mean, when there's an appreciation, despite the record, and everyone can say what they want, and I'm not trying to defend anything, but there's some type of an appreciation for when, you get hit with all the adversity that we're getting hit with, you know what I'm saying? And, you have a bunch of young men in that locker room, and they're young guys, and, their resiliency, is really starting to show, and it'll continue to show. I really believe that, for the remainder of this season. And it's not a credit to me, it's a credit to the locker room, because that's the one thing you can't really control as a coach. You can control practice times, you can control scheduling, you can control a lot of things, but you cannot control, the heart and the soul of what goes on in that locker room. And it's such a fragile part, of what we do as coaches and players. No different than with the coaching staff. So I believe this team has it. And I think that, whatever happens in the future, these types of, situations, they'll put a callus on some guys.
One quick follow-up, Doug. You sound much more concerned about the players' welfare than you do whatever the future might hold for you.
Oh, absolutely. I've never been about whatever it holds for me, Gene. I never have, never will. The the one thing that, I'm motivated by is that, one, someone's got to, take charge and someone's got to be a leader. And I know that, people are going to say what they want, and I know what the record is, and it is what it is. I get it. I'm not making any excuses. But at the same sense, when you see people trying, it's very easy to give back. When you see people give an effort, it's very easy to give back. And whatever happens, at the end of the day, and I've said this a million times, at the end of the day, I'm going to have to look in the mirror and say, okay, have I done everything I possibly can? Have I've exhausted every avenue? Have I, motivated to the best of my ability? How I kept everything together? And I'm not going to say that's a win. That's part of my job. That's my responsibility, and that's one I take a lot of pride in. And I haven't always been able to do that. And you guys know about the past, so I haven't been able to keep that, thing together at times. But I feel like I owe these guys everything that I have. That's just how I feel.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Mia, last question.
Hey, Doug, just wondering, it really seems like it was just Keelan, Chris Conley, and then DJ out there at wide receiver. Did you guys look to maybe get Colin in a little bit more, Terry Godwin, try to change things up?
Well, we knew coming in, we had a problem during the week with our receivers, with the injuries, obviously with LaVisca. And I think if you look at the practices during the week, you looked at Colin, we weren't sure if we were going to have him up. And we knew going in that we were probably going to go and be heavy with the three receivers. So I think a lot of that really depended on how the week goes. We just wanted to make sure that we were backed up in case we had any injuries, knowing that hey, if Terry came in or Colin came in, at least Terry was healthy, because we talked during the week of whether going with 4 or 5. So, Colin said he was ready to go. I trusted him. We put him in there. And then we just had Terry up there just to make sure that we were okay. So that was more of what happened during the week.
And then kind of building off of that at the tight end position, obviously we knew you'd be without James. Tyler, what is his status at the tight end position? And then what did you see from Ben and Eric today?
Well, Ben's been playing a bunch, so I have no issues with Ben. He's done you talk about someone. North Dakota State, and I think he was an ex-quarterback, started, and he might have been a walk-on. I don't even know. But all of a sudden, he makes the team, and and really came close to being on the roster early on, and then really showed a lot of promise when we flexed him a couple of those games, and from his ability to block, and he can run well enough at that position. I really like him. I really think that he has the potential. Again, I'm not going to go too far, but he has the potential to be a guy that plays for a while. He does a nice job. Eric came in. We flexed him. Put him on the roster, and I just wanted to take a good look at him. He's a guy that can run. For the F position. He's done some really nice things in practice, so we wanted to bring him up there. I think of the day, I think Tyler did a nice job. We had him open on the seam. We kind of overthrew it, a little late from Jake. Made a nice play on the sail route. Tyler's a solid player. He's done a nice job.
Thanks, Mia. Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
All right, that's Doug Marrone, the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. No assurances. Week-to-week thing with him being the head coach thus far as you watch the post-game report. Here on Facebook, Action News Jacks, the Jaguars' last 13 years, they've had one winning season. Losing today cinches another losing year. Jets and Chargers doing battle right now, 7-6 last look. Titans won today, by the way. Do we have the AFC South standings before? Can we pop those up real quick just to take a little peek? See, the Titans came back and won in overtime, a great comeback win against Baltimore for them, and 7-3. The Colts playing the Packers now, and Houston also a win. So Brent, you had talked about those 2-win teams. A lot of those 2-win teams have gotten to 3 now, so there is some breathing room there. Boy, it'd be nice if the Jets could win one.
Yeah, Dan, I think, but that's a big thing. Like, obviously, you don't want to root against your team on Sundays. And so if the Jags can get a little breathing room, now if the Jets were to pull off a stunner, they just threw an interception to the LA Chargers, return for a touchdown. So now they were winning that game, they're losing. But I mean, you're keeping an eye on that. Listen, it's not worth a win to miss out on maybe Justin Fields. And so we're keeping an eye on those other teams, I think, for a good reason. If I'm Shad Khan, I'm looking at that too. I don't care if that's right, wrong, indifferent. That's reality. And that's how you spin this thing and flip this thing potentially faster to get better. I'm going to share something else. You just shared 12 out of 13 losing seasons in a row now. They've solidified. The Jags have been very streaky over the years in their losing streaks. They did have one winning streak of 4 wins in a row in 2017. But go back to 2011. How about this? 5-game losing streak. They had a 7 and a 4 in 2012. They lost 8 in a row in 13. They lost 6 and 4 in a row in 14. 4 in a row in 15. Gus Bradley lost 9 in a row in 2016. Well, guess what? Doug Marrone and the Jacksonville Jaguars of 2020 have just matched that losing streak of the last decade. 9 straight losses. Doug has also had a 7-game losing streak in 18, 5-game losing streak in 19. So, bottom line is, if you listen to even some of the things that Doug Marrone just said, this is not that different than the Gus Bradley era right now. Take 17 out of it, and I don't think you can when you look at everything. But the last 3 years and the 4 years with Gus, I mean, we're talking about young guys trying to play better. Maybe this experience will help them down the road. They're still coming to work, but the losing streaks are what they are. And that's what this has been now 7 out of the last 8 years here in Jacksonville from Gus Bradley and Doug Marrone. Dave Caldwell, by the way, a constant in all of that as the general manager. Shad Khan, a constant in all of that as the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. One good season. The rest of them mired in miserable losing streaks along the way. When are they going to snap out of it? How do you change it? It'll be a constant theme of what we talk about for the next however many months leading up to the draft. And hopefully when the Jaguars have that number 1 or number 2 pick and do something they've never done before in franchise history. Go get a guy that is viewed as a game changer at the quarterback position, a face of the franchise. Jaguars have never done that. You draft Byron Leftwich, you can draft David Garrard in the 4th round, you can draft Blaine Gabbert, you can draft Blake Bortles. Those guys are not what Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence is going to be viewed as. And that's what we're talking about going into April. That's the way to fix it. That's the way to make Sundays fun again here in Jacksonville. But right now, Dan, not very fun. 9 losses in a row.
9 losses in a row. Franchise record, I believe, is 13, but that's over 2 years combined. They lost 13 games over a 2-year period combined. Big Show Joe is talking right now. Let's eavesdrop on him and see what he has to say. Brent, we'll get back to you in a minute.
With them early, and then after the half, it seems like things were just slipping away. Allen going down, Henderson being unavailable, Shaughnessy not being here today. I don't know Laviska Shenault. Is it attrition or fatigue that's hurting this team?
If I knew what it was, I think I'd be able to help solve the problem a little faster. But I mean, it's probably honestly a combination of the two. There's a lot of guys playing injured, a lot of guys coming back from injuries, getting re-injured. It's the NFL. I mean, that stuff happens obviously with the shorter off season. I think you've seen a little bit of an increase in uptick this year and that kind of stuff. But for us, I mean, you got to have the next man up mentality, be able to plug in and step up and play as if you're the starter, no matter who's out there on offense, defense, special teams. And like, if I knew the answer, I would tell you, but honestly, that's up in the air for me.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Alex. And thanks, Joe. Appreciate your time.
That was good.
Well,
right,
more
guys,
thoughts
James is
with
next.
Brent before we call it a day. We'll have a lot more coming up tonight, obviously, on Action Sports Jax primetime. 9 straight losses, offense struggling, defense struggling, Brent. Look, you got to play out the string. I mean, that's all. We learned that Daniel Thomas, who had played well, now will be done for the season, I guess. I'm going to assume he must have broke his arm. I don't know what else it would be that would cause him to miss the rest of the way. So injuries now and attrition now really starts to hurt a team when it's hard to get up. It's going to be hard to get up. Do they go back to Minshew? Yes or no?
Yeah, I think they do. I think this is about the locker room, Dan, and I think you have to show that you're trying to win. Doug Marrone, he doesn't care about the future of the Jags next year and all that. He's trying to win, and I believe that. But I think he made a big mistake today to his team that's playing their butt off right now for him. They're not very good, but you can see the effort. They're bouncing around. They look like they were 8-1 out there in the first half at times. That's how much energy they're playing with. Well, you have to give that back to them and give them a chance to win. This kid is just overmatched right now. I mean, that was one of the worst performances we've seen in the last decade out of a quarterback if you look at the numbers today. And it's a little unfair to him. But if Minshew's ready to go, I'm playing Minshew. And if Minshew's not ready to go, you know who I'm playing? I'm playing Mike Glennon. That's what I would do, because I need to tell that team that's trying to bust their butt the last 6 weeks that, hey, we're still trying to win. We believe this guy is the best guy to allow us a chance to win a football game. They have to go with Minshew or Glennon next week.
Yeah, I would agree. I said it at the top of the show, and I think Minshew's a better quarterback right now than Jake Luton is. He is today, he is yesterday, and he will be tomorrow. And with all due respect, if he doesn't sit in the pocket, so be it. You got to do what he does best, curtail your offense to that, and try to win a game or two. That's what they're probably going to do, I would assume, but we shall see. Brent, great stuff as always. We'll see you back tonight. Action Sports Jags prime time. Thanks for hanging out with us. Jags lose again. It's 9 straight and counting, gang. And either the 99th or 100th loss of Shad Khan's tenure as owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll clear that up for you tonight as well. Thanks for hanging out with us. You heard from Doug Marrone. You heard from Joe Schobert. Jags lose to the Steelers, and how? 27-3. Have a great day.
It's the best local sports show in Jacksonville. Thanks for watching the Action Sports Jax postgame show, sponsored by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.